My name is Robin Ross. I am the proud mother of Mazzetti Alexander. In 2007, Mazzetti was convicted of murder in the Newton County court system. I am here not to debate his guilt or his innocence, but to shed light on the fact that Mazzetti Alexander did not receive a fair trial. The courtroom was filled with Mazzetti supporters, even on the plaintiff's side. Judge Ott threatened to throw everyone out of the courtroom when the crowd was murmuring at the way the court was being handled, or the fact that the jurors was being allowed to sleep while court was in session. I was assured that Mazzetti would not get a fair trial when I heard Judge Ott make the comment about a recent headline concerning a prominent rapper that seemingly was able to pay a good lawyer to negotiate a deal that made his sentence very short. After his commentary, he stated, "It will not be happening today in this courtroom." Mazzetti was being compared to this rapper, even though Mazzetti just began his journey as a music producer. Court-appointed counselor was changed suddenly from the lead attorney, who was a male, to an obvious newcomer to the courtroom on the ground that due to the nature of the case, it would look better if he was represented by a female. In today's opinion, in anybody's opinion, that young lady was terrible. As a matter of fact, she was literally guided by Judge Ott as a small, innocent, ignorant child. He was abusive to her, and she was completely overwhelmed. As I recall that day, I realized that she was allowed to practice with my son's life, hanging in the balance. A notice was mailed to my house about jury selection. We arrived at the courthouse on time. However, me and my husband were never allowed the opportunity to enter the courtroom. After several attempts at opening the door, a sheriff deputy or a bailiff was sent outside the courtroom and would not allow us inside, and offered no explanation as to why. We waited outside the courtroom from 8 to 4, only breaking for lunch, and no one made themselves available to give us an explanation. We discovered that later that this was a violation of Mazzetti's rights. But in Newton County, that seems to be okay with everybody in that courtroom. During the trial, Mazzetti was referred to on many occasions as a thug, with no evidence to support that claim. As a mother, that was very painful to hear. I did the very best that I could to help my sons grow up to be good men. When I heard those words being spoken to my son as he was in the courtroom, I did not see a thug, as the assistant district attorney stated. I saw a little boy that played the drums in church when he was just a little more than a toddler. I saw a little boy that was sitting in the principal's office, not because he was a thug, but because he was being bullied. I had those thoughts while hearing those words, and my heart broke, and the tears that I was fighting against began to sting my eyes as they finally broke free. They dragged my son's name and character through the mud with no supporting evidence or witnesses, but protected the character of the victim. I mean, no harm or disrespect. But the term they used to describe Mazzetti, my son, was more fitting for the victim. And they found the evidence to support it in her car because she had 17 different IDs in her car. After the case was closed and over, one of the state witnesses that testified against Mazzetti filed an affidavit that stated that she was threatened by the state prosecutor, Layla Hinton. She stated that because she was the grandmother of Mazzetti's son, it was suspected that they would be hostile witnesses for the state, and she and her two kids, were told that they had better not say anything good about Mazzetti, or they will be brought up on charges. Fearfully protecting herself and her children, that mother and grandmother refrained from offering any testimony that would prevent or help Mazzetti in any way. But being more defiant and far less fearful was the kids. But even when they answered questions from the defense attorney that shed a light on who Mazzetti was and the victim really was, Judge Ott loudly interrupted and had the testimony stricken from the record. In my conclusion, Mazzetti was never a thug, as Layla Hinton claimed. He was never a wayward rapper that Judge Ott was massively prejudiced against. He was a young man exposed to an unfortunate opportunity to make the wrong decision, and he made it in Newton County. Although this young lady ran up to him with one hand behind her back and the other one poking in his chest, I was told that he was backing up as she was coming forward. And the young man that lived at the house thought the girl had a gun also. But Mazzetti was outside playing basketball, so he had no intentions of seeing this girl. Matter of fact, the state witness that owned the house said the girl was not supposed to be there because she had prevented her from coming to her house. So I'm saying this to somebody, just protect you and let you know how Newton County handled their situation. Matter of fact, it was said that the judge had already given Layla Hinton permission to handle a case, or my son's case, a certain way. I thank you for your time, and I thank you for listening. God bless.